Every newspaper has this thing called word of the day. And so, Monday's word of the day is bizarre. It was a bizarre first innings from an Indian bowling perspective. But if you are a Nepalese supporter, I'm sure you're smiling from ear to ear. You're watching Cricbuzz live, and this is a scorecard that should make a few Nepalese fans smile. But the Indian contingent will look back and wonder how they allowed Nepal to score 230 when they had them down 6 at 144. It was a bit of an up and down bowling performance from India. Lots of strange fielding moments as well. Dinesh Karthik and Bhattacharjya in the house to make sense of all that happened. Can you make sense of what happened there?
Fielding was not great, was it? I think you can always have a bad day with the ball. It's understandable. Sometimes you don't bat as well. But fielding pretty much tells you the state of affairs of where the team is, and you can see the word that I would want to use. You use bizarre, I would use rusty. The team hasn't played together as a combination of this 11 for some point of time, and this fielding display that they put up today was definitely very, very below par, and they would know that they really need to step that part of their game up.
Fans can't be blamed if they're just watching this innings, scratching their heads, because it's very difficult to make sense of what happened in that first innings.
B is that 2 days away, you've seen Pakistan clinically dispatch them.
Yeah.
Clinically dispatch them. And then after that, you see 3 dropped catches in the first 5 overs. And throughout, I mean, towards the 42nd or 43rd over, we had this whole comedy of misfields where it was misfielded once and there was an overthrow and they got 2 extra runs out of something. And that for me exemplified what's happening today with India. They're just not together. I mean, and I wouldn't blame any individual player, it's just their heads are not there somewhere. And they need to get that together in a hurry because it's just a month away to a World Cup.
Misfields, drop catches can perhaps be a symbol, a symptom rather, not a cause. Was it because they were just not switched on for this challenge?
I thought they were very casual. You can see with the way they approached it, they were not really in the game. I don't think they would start an India-Pakistan game this way. They expected certain things to happen, which always happens when you play against a minnow, but also the fact that they haven't fielded for this long in a long time as a team. As I said, this 11 that they've put together, the Shreyas Iyers, Ishan Kishans, all of them haven't played together as we speak. So that also could be an issue. There were catches dropped and fairly simple ones. So it tells me it's not lack of skill, it's just lack of just being switched on. You don't see Virat Kohli drop a sitter like that too often. So I would like to think that it is a bit of a signal to them saying, hey, I think we need to really buck up here.
When a full member, a big cricket country like India is playing an associate nation, they're expected to steamroll the opposition. And when you have the opposition score 65 in the first 10, it can hurt their pride. I'm not talking about ego, but it can hurt their pride. It should hurt their pride.
Of course, I mean, that was an amazing opening partnership. And I think some of the things they did work for them. Yes, they got a few chances because there were 3 dropped catches. But they walked at the bowlers, so they reduced the length so that, it was nullifying the swing. Also, anything short, they tried to pull away and they pulled very successfully, pulled and swung towards mid-wicket very successfully throughout. You'll see a lot of the boundaries scored in that same arc between square leg and mid-wicket. And I think those are the things that you look at it. Once that happened, it's not exactly that Siraj changed his length. So Mohammad Siraj, you're looking at a bowler who's one of our prime bowlers. We look at him as a wicket taker. He took 3 wickets today. But he'd look at those 9.2 or 9.3 overs and said, I gave away 61 runs to this team. And have a look at that. And that's something that tells you that he's just had a bad day. Even Shardul, he had a good, decent first over, got a wicket. And then they again managed to go after him. Hardik Pandey also they went after. So what I'm saying is that generally the Indian seam bowling effort was definitely not up to standard.
Siraj slightly wavered today. You think lots of freebies on the leg stump?
Yes, he was in many ways trying to straighten his line. You got to understand his stock ball is the outswing, which he generally gets to go from the middle stump or off stump when he's really bowling well. He wasn't getting that. The one that was coming back wasn't happening because there wasn't much happening off the pitch. The early catch that Virat dropped obviously, put a stutter to his whole spell. But having said that, what wasn't great to watch was how they bowled at the back end of the innings. I thought it was pretty ordinary for the high standards and lofty standards that they set for themselves. some Sompal coming, by no means any disrespect to Sompal, but he is not of the pedigree of some of the batters that they're going to be facing in the near future. So, for him to take on those bowlers, a couple of sixes, not great balls in the death. So you have to say that it was not a great effort with the new ball, and also not a great death bowling effort by the bowlers Hardik and Shami. Shami was okay, but Hardik and Siraj at the back end of that inning.
Yeah, if a cynic is looking at this batting card, he might say, you know what, they drop catches, but you can't really blame the likes of Asif Sheikh for riding this wave where they were getting these chances. And he made full use of the opportunity, batting up the order, 58 of 97. He'll remember this one for a long time.
First ever Nepalis to get a 50. So I think for a start, that's a great, that's a great accolade to have on a personal note. I thought Sompal Kami batted really well at the back end, some lusty blows, ably aided by Gulshan Jha and Airi, who I thought put up valuable partnerships. But what was good to see was they had the hunger to stay right through the end. Yes, as we spoke, they were helped a little bit by the fielders, but you got to understand they played a quality spell from Kuldeep Yadav without giving them a wicket. They also made sure that Jadeja didn't get more than 3, because at that stage they could have gone on to lose a few more and the game would have ended there. So they played through that spell. So some good batting there, but you have to say that the Indians didn't bowl as well as they were liked.
India had them at 144 for 6. Did this stop-start thing also disturb their flow a little bit?
Maybe whatever. You are a top-level international side. You have a team at 144 for 6 means you have your foot on their throat. For India not to be able to close the match after that, finish them off within 170, 180. I remember we were talking about it and said, my prediction was 170, his was 190. And we said that, I may be in the game as well. I mean, for them at that point to reach where they have is just saying that we just could not keep that pressure on.
Yep.
And that's something that will be truly worrying. That 4.10, I can understand. The 2.8 was when the spinners came on. I thought they did a fantastic job after the kind of start that had happened. That 65 for 1. After that, the spinners, Kuldeep and especially Ravindra Jadeja, did a fantastic job of controlling them, controlling the run rate and getting a few wickets. After that, that 5 and 5.52 with the number of wickets that have fallen, I have to say that India will look at that and say, forget the 3 dropped catches, forget everything. We still got them to 144 for 6. We couldn't close the match. We couldn't close the innings. That's something that's worrying for me.
Can this be looked at as a one-off? Because straight away, the worry in the Indian fans' mind is, man, the other teams will be salivating at the prospect of batting against this bowling group. Can this be a one-off, saying, don't worry, come the World Cup, they'll be more switched on. The intensity will be different. World Cup at home, the stage is much bigger. Psychologically, it's a completely different ball game.
No, Manish. I don't think you need to wait till the World Cup. I think they should switch on before the second, the second leg of this Asia Cup starts, because they're going to be. Hopefully, they'll end up chasing down the score, and then they will move on to the next stage. And you have to understand, you have to have a certain rhythm going into the World Cup, and it is set by playing good quality matches. So yes, Bumrah coming in will be a major difference to this attack, because he bowls at crucial parts in the game for India at the top and the tail of the innings. But overall, I think the spinners were very good. Fast bowlers, rusty. I will look at it as a one-off, and that's how they need to look at it as well, because they're capable of much, much better. We put up a stat at the start of the innings saying that the fast bowlers have got the wickets, got 200 plus wickets in the 42 games that they've played and have an economy of less than 5.2. They haven't really lived up to that, which tells me that they haven't played so much cricket together. Very understandable. You have to understand Siraj is also coming back, didn't play the ODI leg in West Indies, so he's also coming back after some time. So I wouldn't be worried, but it is definitely something that the bowlers will go back and say, you know what, I think we need to really hit the straps on from here on.
I know that mobile phones are not allowed in international dressing rooms, but I suspect Monty Desai has friends or someone in that group that watched the pre-show of Cricbuzz Live earlier today, and I suppose they've heard the two of you. Last the full 50 overs, they almost did, Joy.
Yeah, fabulous. 48.2. And again, as I said, batsmen, the one great thing is that what happens with associate nations is you'll generally find in associate nations a lot of all-rounders. Because, you can't specialize in those teams that much. So, all these guys, Gulshan Jha, Dipendra Singh Airi, Sompal Kami, they can bat a bit, they can bowl a bit, but they brought so much heart to the party. They came out there and at that 144 for 6, those partnerships were crucial. That 144 to 194, those few partnerships, those blows towards the end, to get them to 230, and I genuinely think 230 is an excellent score under the circumstances.
Things would have looked much worse if it wasn't for Kuldeep Yadav and and Ravindra Jadeja, who they looked like they were in control of what they were doing. They stopped the run flow. Jadeja picked up 3 wickets as well. And I thought the Nepalese weren't really able to read Kuldeep much.
True. Both these bowlers, I wish and hope, are constantly spoken of together, because that's what we said at the top of the show. They work as a couple together on the field, because one is a Chinaman bowler, one is a left-arm spinner, one obviously tries and holds things up, the other picks up wickets. In today's case, it was the opposite of what we expected to happen, and rightly so, because Kuldeep kept things tight, and hence when they did try to go after Jadeja, who they felt they were able to pick a little better, they ended up giving wickets to. And this is bound to happen for any team that does this again India, especially if they have lesser left-handers. So it is a good ominous sign for Team India, and I think this is the biggest positive that they can take away from this innings that just happened.
Good positive to have in an otherwise bizarre performance.
Absolutely. I know. I think exactly what he's saying. That, see, the middle overs choke is not so much. It's not there in 20 overs cricket. In 50 overs cricket, that period, 10 to 40, is a crucial period. And those 20 overs that you're going to get out of these two is really going to be critical to our chances. Remember, we're going to be playing in the subcontinent, so you're going to be playing on the kind of pitches which Jadeja would prefer rather than we're not playing in England or in Australia. And I think those two bowlers and how well Hardik bowls as the third bowler, how many overs he can give them, I think that is going to be crucial to our chances.
These are nervous days in Indian cricket, and you all know why. There's a World Cup coming up at home. The last time India lifted the cup was in 2011 on the 2nd of April. Tomorrow is a big day. Why? Because India are supposed to submit their provisional World Cup squad of 15 players. And so we thought, why not get DK to give us his 15? We don't know what's happening with KL Rahul. He's supposed to join the team after this game. We don't know what his fitness status is. We've been told he's all right. It was only a niggle. We've seen a little glimpse of Shreyas Iyer. We've seen Kuldeep bowl really well. We got a glimpse of Shardul as well. DK, are you ready with your 15 for the World Cup?
I would like to think so. I've seen how Indian team operates, and I pretty much have an idea as to what they will pick as their 15 for the World Cup. And I think it should come up on the screen very soon. But they will go with the two solid all-rounders in Hardik and Ravindra Jadeja, which are obviously obvious picks. The two players that we need to speak about is Surya Kumar Yadav, and I think for me he is a match winner. He's an X-factor player, and he is not somebody I would go into a World Cup without. And knowing how much Rohit Sharma trusts him and likes him, you got to understand captains always have a certain liking for a certain player who has performed well under him, and Surya Kumar Yadav is one such cricketer who, when moved from KKR to MI, blossomed as a batsman and went on to become the special player that he is today. So you can understand why a Surya Kumar Yadav is held on to by a Rohit Sharma. And the other big debate has always been, should we have Shardul Thakur or another medium pacer? I went for Shardul Thakur, and mainly because India need that batting option at number 8. And from Shardul Thakur's point of view, if he's just bowling the 4 overs like he did today, and I genuinely hope he bowls a lot more than he did today, he needs to find a way to be consistent with the bat, because there's a great chance he'll be starting this World Cup and he will have a big role to play at number 8 as a batter as much as he is as a bowler. On a pitch which is slightly slow, I'll go for Akshar Patel at number 8. But if the pitch is nice and flat, or it has more in it for the fast bowlers, Shardul Thakur will be my number 8. But I just hope his batting doesn't become one of notional value, because he is capable of producing good innings. We have seen that. But the problem with Shardul Thakur over a period of time has been, it has been few and far in between when he is actually capable of being consistent at producing those cameos.
Do you like the look of it?
I have a couple of thoughts, and again, this is a philosophical thought more than anything else. I feel Shardul is exactly the person who at number 8, two things. One is that Akshar Patel, after the kind of match-winning batting performances he's given over the last year, he to be targeted, put there as a bowler is something that he'll be thinking of, saying that, you know what, I bat a bit better. India batted me at 4 as well. I have won matches for India with the bat. At least put me as an all-rounder. Don't.
It's very interesting you say that, Joe. Actually, he was in the all-rounder list. I just said put him in the bowler thing so that he and Shardul Thakur are... I feel
are slotted in the same place. Okay,
are slotted in the same place, because I feel for the current Indian team, they are bowlers who can bat. That's how they're looked at. Not so much batters who can bowl. So hence I said, put them together in the bowlers lot, so that when I do speak about the team, they should be spoken about in the same breath. Because for me, depending on the pitch, I'll either play Shardul or Akshar, and hence that happened.
No, absolutely. But I see where your point of view is, and look, for me, Akshar is, again, as I said, I think in my mind, right now, a bit better batsman than Shardul is, or at least he's proved.
Oh, there is no doubt about it. In my mind as well, I must agree. I don't want to, come in between when you're saying something, but I'm just saying I also feel Akshar is definitely the better batter. But I feel a lot of the times in India, we'd be forced to play the medium pacer, especially if there's due. We'd rather go into the medium pacer than a spinner. Hence, Shardul might get the nod in a few games, and there will be many times during this World Cup when either of them will end up playing.
Is there enough variety in this pace bowling department? Because while Arshdeep has not had a great run, just for the sake of variety, did he feature on your plans at all?
I think that's where Joy needs to finish what he was saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's my only point is I really feel I'd go in with one more match-winning bowler. And in my head at this point in time, given, Arshdeep, as I said, again, is work in progress. He's almost there, but he's just not completely cooked for a World Cup. I'd still go with Prasidh Krishna. I feel he's a match-winning bowler. He can give you variety. And I would go for him over a Shardul Thakur. But then again, I can quite see what DK is saying out here, saying that you probably need that extra batting at number 8. And if Shardul can give you a few wickets, he's obviously got to bowl more overs in the 4 overs he's bowling here. But he definitely will under most circumstances. But if he gives you consistency, that's what they've looked at. I'm saying we'll probably need wickets in the subcontinent. If our batting fires, that's going to be, the problem is going to be getting wickets. The second problem I have is if Siraj is off, and he was off today, he was totally off, he was just not the bowler that he normally is, then do you have that kind of spearhead bowler as an option with you? And those are things you need to think about. They're saying that, okay, you will play 2 of those 3, Siraj, Shami and Bumrah, of course. Perhaps you could play all 3. And that's my point, that I'd like to see all 3 played in the beginning and then see where we go from there. Especially against teams like Australia, you just need to bowl with your best bowlers.
Yeah. In an ideal world, Manish, I think if Siraj, Shami, Bumrah, along with Kuldeep Yadav play, that's the best bowling attack that they can have. But what we have seen in the general past is when in the last World Cup that happened in Australia and a couple of World Cups prior to that as well, when you just go in with 7 batters, somewhere the batters get a little reluctant to push or play with a little more intent when they need to, and they sit back a lot more as the pressure of the game increases because they feel there's lesser batting. Now, in an ideal world, you would want one of these 3 batters to stand up, or one of these 4 players that I just mentioned now, to stand up and put up performances with the bat, just like what Jasprit Bumrah did yesterday against Pakistan, rather day before against Pakistan. You have 1 or 2 guys chipping in with 16 of 8 balls or 20 of 12 balls, then that gives the confidence to play all 3 bowlers, the 3 top fast bowlers along with Kuldeep Yadav. Now, because none of them have given us the consistency over a period of time at 8, 9, 10, 11, you will go to an Akshar Patel or a Shardul Thakur just to give you that mental solace saying, you know what, in case we are 30 overs, 140 for 4, we don't need to be too worried. We can still press the accelerator a little bit, because if you don't have that batter at number 8, and we will be 150, 160 for 4 at different points of time in this World Cup, we will go much slower if number 8 is there than we would if number 8 is not a batter.
KL Rahul has been a huge subject of debate. You're announcing your World Cup squad without having seen KL Rahul play a single game. Is it purely on pedigree, past record, hunch, just a gut call from the captain because he believes KL Rahul will do well? What's the rationale? The fan wants to know.
All 4 of the points that you put together, pedigree, he definitely has skill. He is somebody who is not about a hunch or a gut feeling from my side. We have seen him perform at number 5. He is arguably has been in this cycle from 2021 to 2023 when he's batted at number 5, been a very consistent batter, and he's actually helped India out of a hole in quite a few matches, one against Australia, one against Bangladesh, getting 70s and 90s. So he is the guy who has actually put in performances. The problem with KL Rahul, just like a Rishabh Pant or a Shreyas Iyer, is he's been injured for a long period of time. Because of the length of time that he's been outside, we tend to forget the scores that he has achieved during the time he has played, which has been A, very impactful, B, which he's been consistent in this format at number 5, interestingly so. Even though he prefers opening, and I think in an ideal world he would like to open, but at number 5 he has been someone who's always delivered in crunch moments, and that should be valued. Now, how he will play is a different question altogether, but he warrants a place in this side for the performances he's put in the last couple of years.
There's just one news report which I read, which you will actually have much more of a perspective on. It was saying that his basic problem, his discomfort is squatting as a keeper. While batting, he's not having trouble. But when he's squatting, then he's having a little bit of discomfort. At this point in time, the word used is discomfort. So my only question is, if he can't keep, then that changes the look of the side completely, because then you'll have to play Ishan Kishan.
I think if he cannot keep, then definitely Ishan Kishan walks into the 11. And the best part about Ishan Kishan is the fact that he's shown us that he can be valuable in the middle order, and that will actually tick a lot of boxes for us. For
If
Team
they have
India.
to fit both in, if KL can't keep.
I don't think that's possible, Manish. As much as we all love KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan, I don't think both will fit into the same 11 at this point of time.
So India play their World Cup opener on the 8th of October in Chennai. I'm sure you know the conditions there. In the month of October, would you be able to pick your 11 at this
Yes,
stage?
for sure. I would put Akshar Patel at number 8 instead of Shardul Thakur. And then I would follow it up with 9 Kuldeep Yadav, 10 Bumrah, 11 Mohammad Siraj. That would be my 11.
Wow. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day with the announcement of India's provisional squad for the ODI World Cup at home. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say. Our experts will have a lot to
But
say.
Manish, you got to understand, all of everybody in India, everywhere is talking about the 15. We are the only place which is spoken about the 11 that will start in Chennai.
That's precisely why Cricbuzz is different. It hits different. Well, we've got another innings to watch. India have to chase down 230 to make sure they qualify for the Super Fours. That's the Nepal batting card so far. 230 all out in 48.2 to 31. Now, Shubman Gill is a subject that needs a bit of discussion. He's had his journey in this year has had two halves. Would you be worried as an India supporter seeing what Shubman's done in the last couple of months?
I think the sample set is small. He's had a sensational start to the year. And again, so it's 7 matches, average of 27. Yes, it's not a great average, just 150. But I think that the point of it is that it's still not large enough to worry me that much. And the form he was in the beginning of the year was sensational form. It was unbelievable form. And it was a form that he carried across formats. See, if you look at Shubman, and one of the things that, DK will tell you, is that when they look at somebody playing, they don't normally look at the scorecard, because it's scorecard, you can get one Jaffa and you can be out.
Yeah.
But how comfortable is he looking? Is he looking as if he belongs there? Is he looking comfortable? Is his body language giving you the right this thing? Is he looking as if he's middling the ball? And those are all factors that you look at. And looking at him, I mean, he was a bit tentative in the last match, but nothing so far over a series of matches tells you that he's not the Shubman that we sort of knew he was.
Out of form is different from out of runs, right?
Most definitely. Shubman Gill is a high pedigree player. I think it's not too often that you'll see Shubman not performing for a consistent period of time. Yes, in the last couple of months, he's been slightly off. But even then, if you see how well he's batted at the start of the year, it goes to show what a player and what a talent he is. And as a captain, you will always look at Shubman and look at him and go, you know what, he'll win me a match. And that is the feeling that you always carry as a captain. And you want players. Yesterday, Joyda spoke about how Saurav Ganguly always had these X-factor players. Shubman is one. Surya Kumar Yadav is one. So as a captain, you want to hold on to these players. And hopefully, if they do well under you, you feel really proud of the decision to hold on to them as a player.
Sompal Kami, Karan Casey will have the ball in hand. India's approach in the first 10. Just ease into it or go bang bang, make a statement?
I don't think it's about making a statement. I think they will go bang bang because of the skill levels that they have.
All right. And so, in that very fashion, we'd like predictions from you. Bang bang.
75 for 1.
I'll go with 65. I'll stay with the score that...
I'm in a good mood today. 85 for no loss India. Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill will want to press that reset button. That's it from the three of us on Cricbuzz Live. Make sure you join us on Cricbuzz Combox at the end of the 15 overs.